And you know, we couldn't do this as well without the great support of wonderful sponsors. And one of the great preeminent sponsors of everything, it seems, in South Florida and all over the country, actually, is the Knight Foundation. And I want to introduce someone who's very special to me. His name is Dennis Scholl. And Dennis Scholl is one of the great arts visionaries. I've known Dennis, we've had our bookshop for about 32 years, and I think Dennis was the first guy in the door at our bookshop when we opened. I knew him back then when he was a wonderful reader. He loves books. He loves everything literary. And in fact, the success that Dennis has had in business is something that they've always shared. He's always shared with the community. He's personally supported the careers of many young and emerging artists, and he's been extraordinarily generous to arts organizations, large and small. Dennis joined the Knight Foundation in 2008, where he oversees all of the foundation's national arts programs. It's because of Dennis and Alberto Ibargüen and the Knight Foundation that we are here tonight with the National Book Award nominees, winners and finalists. I've been saying nominees for so long that it now happened. Tonight with the National Book Award winners and finalists, just actually 2 days after the awards ceremony happened in New York. The Knight Foundation is truly visionary in its conviction that the arts make cities thrive, and we all know that they do. And they believe that a community of readers is a community of ideas and opportunities. We're so grateful for their deep commitment to the success of the Miami Book Fair and the Center for Literature and Writing at Miami-Dade College. They're also helping us in many different ways grow our mission and make it, have its reaches go far beyond even Miami, and have it be even more so year-round. Our partnership this year with PBS is another Knight-funded initiative. They've also funded The Swamp and the Teatro Prometeos programs here at the fair as well. So their partnership goes very deep into this. I'm thrilled and honored to welcome Dennis up here, who will start the program off. Please welcome Dennis Scholl.
I remember when Mitchell came to me 30-something years ago, and this was just like a gleam in his eye, and to see what it is now is just so extraordinary. I mean, it's so exciting. So please, we all owe Mitchell a huge amount of thanks in this community. So I've gotten some accolades in my life, but I've never been called a good reader so earnestly. That felt really good. I'm a good reader. And we have here tonight the dream team of American letters right now, and that's, for me, a very exciting moment. I want to congratulate the shortlist finalists and winners in fiction, nonfiction, young adult, poetry. And with the award ceremony just 48 hours ago, we are thrilled that so many of them could be here with us and are about to come up and dazzle us once more. You know, we believe, and those of you that have followed what we've done know, that the arts can bind a community, and that's what's been happening in this community, particularly very recently, where we're having an artistic awakening like nothing we've ever seen before, and the book fair has, of course, led that way for so long. But artists and writers help build communities. Artists and writers matter to communities, and because they tell us who we are, where we've been, and what we could be. And for 31 years, the book fair and the college have been partners in bringing an extraordinary community of artists and writers to this city. It's the largest book fair in the United States and clearly one of the most celebrated. And I want to make sure that everybody is paying attention to that PBS feed, because I sat in my office all day today and didn't do a lick of work watching Jeffrey interview people. So it's pretty outstanding. As I got ready to give my speech, I found that I was missing page 2, so I'm going to my backup plan here. No other organization takes on that responsibility of celebrating and nurturing great writers more than the National Book Foundation. And tonight's Master of Ceremonies, Harold Augenbraum, is the Executive Director of the National Book Foundation, the presenters of the National Book Awards. And we have him to thank for making all these great writers available to us tonight, and he'll be up here in a minute. He's a noted writer, a scholar with interests that are very close to ours here in Miami, as you'll hear. His 7 books include Growing Up Latino, The Latino Reader, many translations of Spanish language classic works, and the translation of one book that I'm dying to read, although I couldn't pronounce it backstage. It's Jose Rizal, the Filipino writer Jose Rizal's novel entitled El Filibusterismo. And I didn't say it right just then either, by the way, in case anybody's not sure. But it does sound a little bit like nonfiction. We were talking about what it means. It doesn't mean what you think. Straight from New York, please join me in welcoming Harold Augenbraum.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in Miami. I haven't been here since 1969. And the place hasn't changed. And neither have I. But then I'm a fiction writer, so most of what you're going to hear from me is lies, except what I say about the writers themselves. I would like to thank Dennis very much for that introduction, and the Knight Foundation for supporting this, and Lizette Mendez, who really has helped put it together and was really the liaison, put the whole thing together, and everybody here in Miami. I do have to tell you that when I got out of the taxi, I really did expect to see Don Johnson. But then you must hear that from everybody in New York who comes down here, and I'm looking around for a creamsicle suit to wear on tomorrow night. I want to tell you a little bit, the way things are going to go is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the National Book Awards, and then I'm going to ask each of the writers to come up and read for about 5 minutes. They will then be seated on the stage. These chairs are here for a reason. And then when all 10 of them have been here, or sitting up here, I will ask them one question each. There won't be any question and answer from the audience because they will all appear on individual panels tomorrow at different times. And that will be your opportunity to grill them. If you're a writer, ask them who their agent is and whether they can help them get their book published. They all love questions about how you can help them get their book published, so make sure you ask them that. And then there'll be a signing, from what I understand, afterwards. But remember, all of them will be available tomorrow after the programs, the individual programs, at various times of the day tomorrow. So a little bit about the National Book Awards. The National Book Awards was founded in 1950, and there's a story that we tell about why the National Book Awards was founded. Well, in 1949, William Faulkner won the Nobel Prize for Literature. And he had never won a Pulitzer Prize for fiction, the biggest prize at that time in the United States. So all the publishers got together and said, this is really, really terrible that he hasn't won the prize and he's got the Nobel Prize. So we really have to have a prize that's much more literary and we can give literary awards. So they founded the National Book Awards in 1950. The first winner was Nelson Algren. And in 1951, Faulkner himself was up for an award for his collected short stories. And supposedly, when he was told that he was being given the National Book Award, because they didn't have the big dinner in those days, they told him beforehand, he said, I could have written a cookbook this year and they would have given me the National Book Award. So it's gone on, and over the period of years, some of the greatest writers in the United States have won the National Book Award. This is its 65th year. People have entered the canon. Everyone you can imagine, Marianne Moore and Elizabeth Bishop in poetry, Philip Roth, and John Updike, John Cheever. Young people's literature was added in 1996. Poetry was added back in 1991 after it had been dropped for a couple of years. How many books do the judges, there are 5 judges and there are 4 categories, how many books do the judges have to read? Well, in poetry, they have to read about 200 books, and this is in about a 4-month period. 200 books, you know, there's groans here. You gotta be kidding, 200 books is nothing. In young people's literature, they have to read 275 books. This is about a 4-month period. In fiction this year, they had 408 books. And in nonfiction, they had 487 books. And all the nonfiction judges came up to me afterwards and they told me they had read every word of every book. And that's another one of the lies that I'm going to tell you tonight. So, again, the National Book Awards took place on Wednesday night, and we gave out our 4 awards. We also gave out a special award to Ursula Le Guin, who is a wonderful fantasy writer. The first time we've given an award to a fantasy writer, and just absolutely extraordinary. But the night before, a similar gathering like this took place at the New School, and the finalists all read. But they've also promised me that they are not going to read the same thing that they read at the New School on Friday. And that's another one of the lies you're going to get for this evening. So they are going to read for 5 minutes, and they're going to come up here, they will take their seats, and then I'll ask them questions afterwards, as I say.